Good morning, creators. I'm glad to see you're all here again. And I want to talk to you today about the first impressions of your own brain. A lot of people have said that once they try to think of something to write, or even during this time of quarantine, something to do with all of their spare time, they're not sure what to do. Well, I'm here to tell you there's a quick way to figure out what you want to do, a direction you want to go with your writing or with your hobbies or with your art, whatever it is. The easiest way to do it is, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? We spend a lot of time saying, it's not a good idea, or nobody's going to like that, or a thousand other things. But you have to remember, the first thing that came to your mind is the one that's closest. That's the little kid that sits in the classroom and raises his hand immediately once teacher asks a question. That's the little kid in your mind, the little inspired piece. Whenever I ask myself, what would I like to do with my free time? I say, go outside and do kendo. Okay, what's the second thing you'd like to do with your time? Because nobody does kendo, and everybody's going to think you're weird and a freak for wanting to exercise with a sword. And those are the different thoughts that get in the way of our thinking, in the way of our being inspired by ourselves. And we got to get past those thoughts. I know it's difficult. I haven't gone out and fully practiced kendo outside in years. I still manage to do it indoors. I get some exercise there. And I'm so scared of what people will think of me. And yet, I was also scared of what people would think of my first book. I still am to a little bit. It's my first book. But you have to sit back in your chair and look at the ceiling and go, what is it I actually want to do? Which, if nobody in the world thought it would be weird, I would do it all the time. For some people, it's cooking. For some people, it's going to be bike riding. For some people, it's going to be skateboarding. A 60-year-old guy says, I've always wanted to skateboard, but no, now I'm too... No. That's what you want to do. You got to go quickly with the first thing that comes to your mind. That was the idea behind my Pareto Blitz, is that inspiration comes quickly. Good ideas take a long time, but inspiration comes quickly. And when you're inspired by something, it's really hard to not do it. And there's so much pressure to fit in, to conform, to do the normal things. When somebody says, hey, what are you doing this afternoon? You don't necessarily want to say to them, yeah, I'm going outside to practice throwing knives. Why? Because people are going to look at you like, oh. And nobody likes that. But what if you learned to just ignore it and say, this is what inspires me. I know that you have something weird that inspires you. I'm following my weird. You go follow yours. See, that's the big thing that comes when we say, I'm following my dream, or my weird, or my first impression. I'm listening to that little kid in class instead of waiting for one of the more respectable students to come up. I'm listening to that little inspired kid and I'm saying, be inspired. It's very difficult, but it's something you must learn to do, because when you are inspired by your own self, you in turn will inspire others. Too long didn't listen is whatever comes to your mind first when you're trying to think of what inspires you or what to do next. Go with that. Listen to it at the very least. Take it seriously. Because the things that are quickest to answer, what should my next hobby be? Those are the ones that are most likely to inspire you to keep going and keep creating. Next time, I want to talk about taking time to find better ideas. Not that your inspiration is a bad idea. It never is. But it always needs development. Inspiration comes quickly. Good ideas take time. And we'll work on that second part next time. In the meantime, this is Chris Schallert, Idea Engine. I encourage you, go out, make something new out of something old.